Yes, sir. Welcome to Real Spit with Spitty. I'm your host, Spitty Will. Now, if this is your first time to the channel, I want to say I appreciate you pulling up, catching some game. I'm dropping gems. Every Monday and Wednesday, I update with new content. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, like, leave a comment, etc., etc. All of the above. We need to tap into that algorithm. So give me some of that good engagement. I'm a marketing dude, so I'm gonna use the buzzwords, all day. But I want to tell y'all a story about how I got left in Washington D.C. by Keyshia Cole. Now I'm working at Geffen Records, doing digital marketing. And this around the time when Keyshia Cole had the Just Like Me project that she released. And, she already was a star. She had that what's that one song? Love, and you knew what I've been missing. And you knew what so she already had that out, you know what I'm saying? So she was a star at the time. And I remember meeting her, and one of the first things that was funny to me, and I remember I laughed about this even back then. God rest her soul, her mama Frankie. I remember I met Keyshia Cole, met her mom's Frankie. God rest her soul. I went to shake their hands, and Frankie would not shake my hand. Like, she was not feeling me for whatever reason. I do not know why. But this is not even about moms. I just like distinctly remember that. And Keisha, she was cool, but I could tell like she wasn't really fucking with me either. So, and I think that a lot of times when you working at a record label, you have to understand that these artists over time may have been lied to in so many situations, may be frustrated in their deals and what they have going on within their deals. So a lot of times these folks don't want to meet some new, what they call a suit. They don't want to meet some new suit and, have to play friendly with them and all that. So I just kind of, used to take it as that whenever I would work with artists, if they would ever have an attitude with me or, just have like a weird vibe. Like, man, maybe it's just, their situation being here at the label and dealing with these other execs. So they ain't trying to meet, no new execs. So in my position in digital marketing, I used to move around with a camera. I would follow Mary J. Blige, Snoop, Slim Thug, Common, Jibs. I would, follow all of these artists around with a camera, and I would shoot vlog content that would either go on the Geffen Records YouTube channel or sometimes it would go directly on that particular artist YouTube channel. So for Keisha Cole, I was assigned to film some behind the scenes content for her. Now she was going on this tour, and they set me up to the label. Geffen set me up to go on the road with her and capture some content with her while she was on the road. So the first city that we were going to was Washington, D.C. So I remember flying into D.C. I get in, and this is early in my career too. So this was probably my second time ever staying at a hotel in a position where the hotel was actually in my name and I wasn't sleeping on the floor in the hotel because I was broke up until I had my first gig. So anytime I ever stayed at a hotel, it would be because a homie had a room somewhere, and I was allowed to like sleep on the floor or on the couch or something like that. However it was, I was just getting it how I live. So go to DC. The label put me up in a room. I remember I was hype. I had my corporate card and all that. I get to DC, and we were all staying at the same hotel. So I was talking to her manager, Manny. He's still her manager now. And I was talking to bro on the phone, coordinating the time for her to do her show. She had to do her show at this spot called Club Love, which used to be like an old fire station or something like that, that they ended up transforming into a club. So it was a three-level club. Dope spot in DC. Like, for those of y'all from DC and from that area, Know what I'm talking about? Club Love. Yo, it used to jump like straight up. Like Club Love used to be lit. So I get the time to meet them to hop in the van so that we could go to the venue. So I remember meeting them downstairs and they were like, nah, you can't get in the van with us to go to the venue. I'm like, damn, why not? Like, what I do? I had to, do the smell check, like see if I, came down musty or something. Like, so anyway, this is before Uber. So I had to call a cab, like a straight up yellow cab or whatever, and get a ride over to the venue. They hop in their van, go to the venue. I call a yellow cab, get in the cab, go to the venue. By the time I get there, they already inside. I got my camera, I got a monopod, I got like this whole contraption with like the Rode mic on top of the camera so that I could capture the good audio in the club with the like fuzzy thing on top of it and all that, and got all my camera equipment. I used to have like this thing that it was like shaped like a letter U, so that then the Rode mic could be on one side, and then my light could be on the other side, so that I could get light when I needed it when I be in dark areas. So get to the club, got all my camera stuff. Of course, the folks at the door don't want to let me in. I'm like, bruh, like I'm here with Keyshia Cole. They just left me and made me catch a cab, but I'm here now, and I need to go in here and film her. Going through that for about 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, yo, why would I be here with a camera and with all of this equipment and all this if I wasn't really here to do something? So they finally let me in the club. I get into the spot and I get into the spot. I move around and I'm capturing B roll of the audience and in the club and all that. I link with them in the club. Then she performs and I end up filming her and I got all the content that I needed. Got a bunch of dope content outside the club, everything. So then it's time to leave the club. So I'm like, yo, can I hop in the van with y'all? They like, nah, ain't no room in the van. I'm like, man, come on. Like, come on, y'all playing. So they hop in the van, go back to the hotel. I end up staying out there, did my little parking lot pimping. I'm, chopping it up with some females. I ended up getting some girls to give me a ride back to back to my hotel. Now, I'm glad that I ain't get robbed or nothing because I know like if I would have been in a city like Memphis or if I would have been in Birmingham or something like that, like I would have had to worry about them females robbing me or something like straight up. Like so, nah, they was cool. Took me to our hotel. So I get to the hotel and then I talk to the manager on the phone and he tell me that because the next city is Atlantic City. So we going from DC, then we going to Atlantic City, and then from Atlantic City we was going to New York. So I go to I talk to the manager. He say, "Hey, we leaving at 9 a.m. and heading to Atlantic City. So be ready." And they was on a bus. They had a tour bus. They had a van for when we got in the city, in each city to move around to whatever they had to do. But then they were on a tour bus. So the tour bus was parked at the hotel, and we were gonna be leaving the next morning at 9 a.m. I'm like, all right, bet. Next morning, 9 a.m. come about 8:50. I'm downstairs in the lobby of the hotel. Sit there for about 10 minutes, nobody come. So then I step outside and I don't see the tour bus next to the hotel. So I'm like, come on. Like I'm looking at my phone, looking at my watch. I'm like, I know these folks ain't leave me, bro. I know they ain't leave me. So I end up calling Manny, talking to him on the phone. He pick up. I'm like, bro, I'm standing here in the lobby. Like, what's good? Like, I'm ready. Oh man, bro, we actually we ended up leaving at 8 this morning. Bruh, you told me to be ready at 9, and I was down here in the lobby ready, bruh. Like, why ain't you call me early and tell me that oh, my fault, bro. I was doing so much, this, that, and the third, whatever. I'm like, bruh, no. Like, what the, like, come on. Like, how you gonna, so at this time, too, it's so early in my career, I wasn't used to traveling like that. Like, I wasn't well versed in traveling. Like, all of this was pretty new to me. I had done some traveling in my lifetime, but all of this was new, like busting moves like this, thinking on the fly, moving with an artist, understanding that, things can change at the drop of a dime and needing to be ready and move fast and all of that. Or what do you do in a circumstance where you get left in a city, need to go to the next city? Like, what do I do? I'm like, damn, so, and it's on the weekend too. So, of course, my boss and I answering the phone when I'm calling them. So I blew him up a couple of times, and he told me like, "Hey, just go to." He was like, "What can you do? Like, can you?" He was like, "'Cause I wouldn't recommend you go to Atlantic City and deal with the same thing." I was like, "Well, look, man, my partners, some of my best friends live in New York, live in Brooklyn, so I can go to New York." He was like, "All right, go to New York." Wait for them to come to New York. Don't film the Atlantic City show. Go to New York and then film the New York show. So I go to New York. I hit my partners. Can I come and stay with y'all? They like, bet for sure. So go to New York, go to Brooklyn, stay with these cats, have a good ass time, staying in bed style, moving around the style, getting it in. So then it comes for the show day in New York. So I get there and I see the manager and I'm like, bruh, like, what's up? Like, and he like, man, my fault, bro. My fault, man. You know how this stuff go, man. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm so new to this. I'm like, man, I don't know how it go. You know what I'm saying? Like, niggas just left me. Like, the fuck? So I ended up doing my job. I filmed the show in New York. It was at the Best Buy Theater in Times Square. I forget the name of that theater now, right by where MTV used to be, TRL and all of that. So I go and film the show in New York and I make my vlog, and my vlog came out dope. But the whole time I'm like, yo, these folks then left me like in these foreign cities I ain't never been in, and I'm just out here having to fend for myself. And it definitely it was frustrating, but it was something that just taught me a valuable lesson in working in the music industry, and that's expect the unexpected because you have to be ready to move at the drop of a dime, and you got to be willing and able to accept change because like anything can happen, and you just never know. Like me getting to the venue, having to catch the cab to the venue and all that, like I'm just glad I was able to think on my feet and make those moves and still even get the content that I needed to get so that I could justify being out of town and the company spending all this money. Because also, what can happen is you can fall into these types of situations and you could still get in trouble, like with people that you work with or whatever, for not delivering. So I made sure that no matter what the circumstances were, that I delivered and I was on point with what I was doing and what I could control. You can't control everything, and sometimes you just can't get too frustrated with the things that you can't control. You just gotta deal with what's coming at you and make it happen. And that's something I've always been able to do. I've always been able to make it happen no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what it is. And I was able to make it happen. And when I went to New York, when I was in Brooklyn, I met Lil C's during that trip. I was walking to the Albee Square Mall, which now is there no longer because they tore all that down when they made the Barclay Center. But I remember walking to the Albee Square Mall and seeing Lil C's out there and chopping it up with him. And then he showed me where Biggie used to live at. And that was probably the dopest part of my trip was that I got to go to New York early and I met Lil C's and saw where Biggie lived and all that. And you know what I mean? Like I was just hype, off of that. But nah, man, that's my story of when Keyshia Cole left me in Washington D.C. I had to fend for myself, make it happen, but I still got the job done. And at the end of the day, get the job done because that's all that counts. That's all that matter. And that's real spit from your boy Spit. Yes, sir.